All right, you're watching this video because you've probably gotten a letter about presumptive guidelines in Alabama. What are the presumptive guidelines in Alabama? This is a criminal case based upon certain crimes, usually property crimes and drug crimes, where based upon your prior criminal history, if you are found guilty, again, this is only assuming if you're found guilty, what the judge possibly could do for your sentence, whether it's for you to go to prison, whether it's for you to do probation, and it will determine what your possible sentence lengths are. So when you receive that letter, it'll probably have, it'll look like this. Here's what the guidelines will look like. The things that they use in determining what your possible sentence and whether you go to prison or not are seriousness of the offense, such as whether it's class D, B, C, or A, the number of your prior felony convictions, the number of your prior adult convictions for misdemeanors, whether you have served more than 1 year in jail, a prior felony probation or parole revocation, prior juvenile delinquency or YO adjudications, or a possession or use of a deadly weapon or dangerous instrument. We'll see that is calculated here. Does the judge have to follow the guidelines? There's two different kinds of guidelines. There's presumptive and voluntary. For presumptive guidelines, yes, the judge has to follow the guidelines. Voluntary guidelines are generally not violent offenses, or mostly violent offenses, okay? But on a presumptive, the court will look at the guidelines and see, does it recommend prison or non-prison, and then the judge will look to see what the recommended sentence length. It's presumptive, the judge has to stay within the guidelines. Absolutely has to, no discretion, unless either you or the state presents either an aggravating or mitigating factor. The state has the opportunity to go outside the guidelines and go into the old school habitual offender rules if they can prove an aggravator. What are some aggravators? The most common example is you committed a new offense while you were on bond or a new offense while you were on probation or parole. There's others. We'll go over that on a different video if that's the case. You also have the opportunity to present mitigating factors. Most common mitigating factor is you paid back your restitution, or you completed a drug rehab. Those are the two most common things, and that will allow you to go below the guidelines. So for instance, if you had a prison sentence or community corrections type sentence, it would allow you to go to probation. All right, how about this question? Let's say that it says prison, and you don't have a mitigating factor. Do you have to go to prison? No. Community corrections is actually considered a prison sentence. You are a state inmate while in community corrections. So even if your guidelines say prison, that doesn't mean that you're not eligible for community corrections. These are the drug offenses that are presumptive guidelines. Controlled substance, marijuana first, manufacturing, distribution of controlled substance, possession with intent to distribute, felony DUI, distribution of marijuana, distribution of controlled substance. These are property offenses that are guideline. Forgery, possession of forged instrument, theft, receiving stolen property, possession of credit debit card that's not yours, unauthorized breaking and entering a vehicle, burglary, third, if unoccupied business, unauthorized breaking and entering a vehicle, and theft of services. So let's go through it. Look, this is what it would likely look like. You look at what you're charged with, your prior criminal convictions, to get a number. This is a 10, okay? So that is a prison sentence. How do we prevent from getting a prison sentence? You either get a mitigator, which would be rehab, or pay back your restitution if it's a theft case, or keep from going to prison would be a community corrections sentence. Here are if it is a prison sentence, your split would have to be between 12 and 27 months. And again, I'm just making this crime up here. Okay, your guidelines could be different. So the minimum you could spend would be 12 months, or between 30 to 104 on a straight sentence. So that is how the guidelines would work.